Hi, my name is Paige Driscoll, and today I'm going to be talking about my reflection journal summary and answering the questions in the directions sheet. This semester I had the wonderful opportunity to be in a classroom with both special needs children and general education children. And I did 21 hours with them. It was a 5-year-old classroom at my local preschool, and I absolutely loved every second of it. So being able to be with special needs children and general education children gave me the opportunity to experience both sides of the education world, and I absolutely love special needs, and I know for a fact that that's what I want to go into once I finish my bachelor's degree. I learned so much more than I thought I was going to be able to during this experience, and I'm excited to share what I learned. So on Monday, August 28th, that was my very first observation. So my goal going into the very first day was just to get to know the children and kind of learn their personalities. Each child had such a distinct and beautiful personality, and for the sake of confidentiality, I'm going to use like initials during this video so that I'm not giving their full names. But there were definitely certain students who stuck out to me. So I first walked in and I saw CJ and CD had become super close during the first day. When I entered the room, they were connected at the hip. They were playing games on like the main rug of the room. And they were playing with building blocks, and they were just super outgoing, super kind, and they were super excited to get to know me. So I knew instantly that I was going to have a connection with these kiddos because they were just super outgoing. Next was ZE. She was so shy and so timid and was just watching everyone play. She wasn't playing, she wasn't talking to anybody. She just kind of stood at the rug and had her arms held together and just watched everybody play. She had really no interest in being involved, but I kind of thought in the back of my head, maybe this is just because school literally started a couple weeks prior to this and she's just not used to everything. And I did later learn that this was her first time in a school setting. So it was kind of stuck out to me. I was like, maybe she's just not used to this type of thing yet. The last student that really stuck out to me was EC. So he was one of the special needs children. He had Cohen syndrome. Cohen syndrome is a physical and mental disability. He's 5 years old, but he has the cognitive of a 9-month-old baby. He stuck out to me a lot. He was so smiley, and he loved to giggle. And I remember I went home and I did so much research on Cohen syndrome because he has a brother who also has Cohen syndrome, but he was older, so I didn't get to be with him because he was in the elementary school. But he loved to giggle, and when I was doing my research, I saw that was a big part of Cohen syndrome, that they were just super smiley and absolutely loved everybody. So he stuck out to me a lot. So after I did my initial observation of their personalities, I wanted to kind of look at the classroom setup, because at this point we were learning in our other classes the proper way to set up a preschool classroom. So I wanted to kind of take note. I wanted to see if they had what I was learning was typical of a preschool classroom. So I saw lots of posters. She had posters all over the wall. She had a big mirror that had all of these, what is the word that I'm looking for? Affirmations, which I really love that. And I do intend on having one of those in my own classroom. And then there was posters with the alphabet, numbers 1 through 100. And then there was a corner in the room called the Calm Down Corner. It had blankets, pillows, and sensory toys. And I thought that the room was pretty perfect for the age group. There was 2 dramatic play areas, dress-up clothes, and a kitchen. And I thought it fit really well with what I was learning was typical of a preschool classroom. So the next several observations were about learning how to teach for me. I wanted to just observe the teacher and see how she approached different things. So an example I have is my third observation The children seemed to be like off that day, like they were just super talkative, super disruptive during the lesson. But I noticed the teacher, she just remained so patient and calm. And she let them know, just like in such a kind voice, like, you guys, like if we don't like calm down, if we don't like hone into what this lesson is, we're not going to be able to do the fun activity at the end of it. And she used the fun activity as an incentive to get them to calm down, and it did work really, really well. So I thought that was a pretty good method, and I thought it was highly effective because it did get their attention. So now I want to dive into the questions that we have on the instruction sheet here. Knowing and understanding young children's development, what are some observations that you made that relate to what you were learning about child development? So, in ZE specifically, throughout the semester, her social and emotional skills got so much better, so much better. The first day she was so shy and so timid, but towards the end she came out of her shell, and literally she always wanted to be involved in our Monday discussions. Our Monday discussions were about like what we did over the weekend, and she always was one of the first ones to want to talk about what her weekend was all about. And she became a lot more friendly. She made friends with another little girl in the room, and they were attached at the hip. And she learned how to hold conversation so well. So I was super proud of that. It was an amazing experience to get to see. Next, EC. So this is the student with Cohen syndrome. He, from day one, didn't even know how to hold a pencil, and towards the end he was gripping a pencil and scribbling on paper. So his fine motor skills went through the roof. He was learning, he's wheelchair bound. He doesn't know how to walk, so he's in physical therapy for that. But his fine motor skills were at an all-time low, and they just went through the roof towards the end of the semester, and that was like almost a miracle to see, because Cohen syndrome children take a very, very long time to develop their gross and fine motor skills. It just has to do with the physical disability. Family involvement, that was a huge component for this preschool that I noticed. Every single like little holiday, like Thanksgiving, the families were always involved. Veterans Day, the families were involved. I could definitely tell that family involvement was really high on their values, which I definitely appreciated, because I find that to be super, super important. And they also had such good communication with the parents. They use school status, and throughout the day they would have constant communication. If a parent had a question, a concern, they were right there and they were able to answer that. So I really, really liked that. So for certain specific theories that I took note of that I was witnessing in real time, Montessori toys were present in the classroom. It seems like the kids really, really loved the dramatic play area the most, but they did have Montessori toys. And then Vygotsky's theory that learning in a collaborative environment is key to children's success, I saw that put into play, because there were so many opportunities where the kids got to play together and work together. And I thought it was super beneficial, especially for ZE, that having the opportunity to get to play together and work together is the main reason her social and emotional skills went as far as they did. And that definitely applies to more than just her. Having the opportunity to work together definitely helped their social and emotional skills a bunch. So I really liked that they provided so many opportunities to get to work with other children. So there were not many instances where I would have chosen to do something differently. I thought that the paras in the room and the head teacher in the room handled everything just like so well and with such composure. There was one instance that I do want to talk about. I think this was on my 5th observation. There was a child who, he did have autism, mind you, but he was throwing his snack everywhere. He was just having like a meltdown type situation. And what I noticed is that they kind of ignored the behavior. I think this could have just been simply because they were pretty busy with other kids, but the behavior did get ignored. And I think if it were me, I would have done something different. I probably would have taken the snack away and told him if we can't act appropriately with our food, we're not going to have our food. And that's an example of setting limits. One instance where I noticed the teacher acting with intention was when actually that same child was having a meltdown. And I don't remember exactly what it was about, but the teacher took the child and placed him in the calming corner. And gave him like several Montessori toys and sensory tools for him to play with. So I kind of took that opportunity to be like, why did you choose to put him in the sensory corner? Or not the sensory corner, the calm down corner. And she let me know that since the first day of school, she noticed that he really gravitated towards that corner and that it seemed to be super effective for him. So I absolutely agreed that once I knew like this corner was an effective way for him to calm down, that was the perfect solution to him having a meltdown, was to place him in that corner. So it seems like everything that she did, the head teacher, was with intention. She just always knew what she was doing. So I am just very grateful for the teacher I was placed with, because she did everything with intention. She's one of those teachers, I wrote down, she's one of those teachers that has a knack for being in education. She always seemed to know the right thing to do to help a child in every circumstance. So I'm grateful for her. And then as a result of my observations, I've become much more confident being in a person in charge role, being around kids, getting to know them, and then also just teaching a lesson in general. So going into it, I had full confidence that I was going to come out of it still wanting to be a teacher, and that did remain true, and especially to be a special education teacher. So I did connect more with those special needs children. I felt like I had more of an impact with them. So that is still my intention, to go into special needs. And one thing I did think going into the observations was, I feel like every child learns similarly, but no, that is not the truth. Every child seemed to have learned in a completely different way. And whether that be they preferred independent work, group work, hands-on work, they all had like the one thing that they seemed to do that helped them strive. So that was really neat to see. So I'm super grateful for the experience that I got to have observing these kids, and I made so many good relationships with these kids, and the teachers and paras that I think are going to last forever. So I'm just very grateful for the opportunity that I got, for the teacher specifically that I got put with. She's phenomenal, and helped me build my confidence with being with special needs children especially. So that's kind of my summary of everything. Certain days it was busier than others. Certain times I got to go outside at recess and observe their gross motor skills in action, which was super, super cool. And then I was there during Veterans Day and Thanksgiving. So that was awesome to see the families get to experience how they keep them involved. But that's basically my summary. Thank you so much for watching.